It actually feels like fall today in Florida, you guys, for about 24 hours. Hey, it's Mary the Daydream Stitcher. Today is October the 18th, 2022. And I'm never sure, am I? And I'm here for a stitching update. I have mostly Halloween to show. I have a couple of other things to talk about and show off in addition to Halloween, but I've done primarily holiday stitching. It's a beautiful day here in Central Florida today. It's actually in the 60s, if you can believe it or not, in 60s in Fahrenheit. And the birds are singing. It is cool. It is beautiful. And we are so blessed to have a couple of days that feel like fall. It's supposed to go back up into the 80s and 90s again by the end of the week. But I think for 2 days we get this kind of weather, and it's supposed to drop into the 50s tonight. So we love it. We absolutely love it. My oldest son asked me to take him hiking this afternoon. So we went out. We didn't go real far. We went about 2 miles. But it was lovely, it was beautiful, no mosquitoes, no humidity and heat. It was just perfect to be outside in the sunshine. So, getting into the fall spirit. Things are good. I'll give a couple of short life updates at the end of my video, but for now I'm going to get into the stitching. So I came to you a couple of weeks ago and I have some progress to show on a few things. So actually, before I start showing you my whips, I want to show you a couple of finishes, which you've seen before. These are not new finishes. These are actually from last year. One of them is this one here, Trick or Treat, for anyone who's maybe new to my channel. This is a pillow that I did last year. And this pattern is called Trick or Treat, or it's also known as Three Witches Hats. And it's from Imaginating by Ursula Michael is the artist, and I just love the bright colors on it. I think it's so happy and fun and whimsical, and yeah, it's I hand sewed this into a pillow, which was a whole ordeal. I'm happy with it. It's okay. It's definitely not gonna win any pillow making contest, but that's okay because that's not what I'm after. So I got that out yesterday. I had forgotten about it and I was going through a box of things and I found it and I was so excited to find it and put it up there in the background. And then my other finish that I had pulled out, this is actually what I was looking for when I was going through the box, was my Nightmare Before Coffee. This is a little piece that I stitched with my friend Ashley, who's Wayward Stitcher here on YouTube and Instagram. Hi Ashley. Ashley just moved across the country and she's in Canada and she's starting a new chapter of her life, and I think she's back to stitching again, which is exciting. So if you want updates on what she's up to, be sure to go check her out on her videos and her Instagram and see what she's up to. She's in Nova Scotia now, which is beautiful. I would love to go up there and visit sometime. Hopefully I will. Hopefully I'll be going to Canada soon. We'll see. Anyway, back to the actual stitching. This is a pattern that was in Halloween, Just Cross Stitch Halloween issue from 2021, last year. And the designer is Barefoot Needle Arts. And this is on Mystic by a picture of this plus. It's a 32 count Belfast with DMC flosses. So my friend and viewer Steve, who is Rivenhane on Instagram. I'm going to put all these people down below because I really think you'll enjoy them if you don't already follow them. Steven has been a viewer of my channel for a while and he's always been very supportive and encouraging, and he sent me, about 6 months ago, he sent me a beautiful gift that I have been wanting to use, and he actually sent it to me specifically for this nightmare piece. I've shown it before when I first got it. This is a horn book that he made himself by hand, and the workmanship is just, it's so professional. It's so, I mean, he is a professional. It's just, it's beautiful. It's so nicely done. It's got this beautiful semi-gloss on it, I think, and I mean, look how whimsical, how perfect for Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton. It has a nail hole for a nail or a screw, and I mean, it's great. So I'm definitely going to finish my nightmare on here, and I would love to get that done ASAP so that I can go ahead and display it. My plan is to put this on a mat board or some sort of canvas and then mount that onto the horn book so that I can hang it or stand it up or however. But I feel like I should probably have some kind of trim. What do you think? I mean, these colors are nice because the blue with the white, I mean, it really pops. I think it's perfect, that white color. But I don't know, should I have some sort of fabric or rickrack as a border? Not much is going to fit on there, as you can see, but I could probably fit some sort of trim. So I wanted to see what you guys thought, because I'm not always very good at choosing those things. And what would I do? Because I don't want anything real busy. So maybe just a simple gold that sort of pulls out the font colors there. I don't know. Please tell me what you think. I would love to hear from you. All of you always have such great advice and ideas, and I really appreciate hearing them. And I plan to go to Joann's this weekend and look around and see what I can find there, and maybe take this piece and kind of put the colors next to it and see what I think looks good. But I really don't even know like what I'm looking for at this point. So that's what I wanted to show for finishes. I don't have any actual finishes from this month, since my last video, but I have some whip progress to show you. So I'll start with what's on my Q-snap. On my Q-snap, with a needle sticking out in the middle as the centerpiece here, I'm working on my Halloween Quaker. I've been trying to touch a number of different Halloween projects this month, and this is what I've got for Halloween Quaker. So I haven't worked on this for over a year, maybe even more than that. I don't remember when I last worked on it. I had started it I don't even remember. It was either in 2020 or 2021. I started it on a Zoom call with Michelle Bendy Stitchy. She was working on this and she's long done with it. But everybody that joined the Zoom call was going to work on this, and so that's why I started it as an excuse to start it. And since I last showed it, which would have been a year or so ago, or probably my last whip parade, it probably was there, I worked on this motif within the last couple days, and I'm almost done with it. I just have a little bit more of the border there to finish. And that will be done. And this is the edge, so it's only half of it that's stitched. It cuts off there on purpose. And I'm doing this in the DMC conversion through 3371. Some of these are in the fancy flosses and some of them are the DMC conversions, just depending on what I have handy and what I pull. That is on a 40 count Picture This Plus called Pewter, which I don't think is the called for. I think the called for was Murky, which I love Murky too. But I'm liking it on this. I always say that this ghost does not show up very well on the pewter, but ghosts aren't supposed to show up very well, are they? So it's kind of a ghostly apparition appropriately enough, and I think it works. And there will be more fill-in around it, so maybe it'll be more obvious eventually. So, and that is where I am on that one. I will probably put some more stitches in that this evening after this video. Okay, so what else have I been working on since my last video? Well, I would say my focus piece has been the Sleepy Hollow from Glendon Place. This is where I've gotten since I last showed it. Well, this is where I am right now. So I finished the moon, I finished the tree for all intents and purposes. Actually, there are a few still half stitches up here at the top that need to be crossed. We Stitchers, instead of dotting our I's and crossing our T's, we cross our X's, right? I'm going to start using that vernacular. People will look at me like I have two heads, but you know what? They already do, so what's the difference? I worked a little more on the border, started coming up with the border, started putting in some sparklies on the saddle. Don't know if you can see that, some Krynic. And what else? I need to take out most of the lettering and redo that because it's crooked. It started going up and slanting and it hit the border, so I need to take some of that out, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. So that's that. That's on a 32 count linen called Alchemy from Picture This Plus, which does not look as dark as it should. If you are going to stitch this and you haven't started it, word to the wise, stitch it on a darker fabric. That probably goes without saying. I'm probably the only one that put it on there. It was just what was available, and I wanted to start it because Chris Cross Stitch was starting it, and I wanted to do a stitch along with him. And so it's all his fault. So I that's what I had, and the called for fabric and a lot of the darker fabrics were not available at that time, like on 1, 2, 3 Stitch and such. And so that's why I started it. I mentioned it last year around Halloween. I'm going to mention it again because I love it so. I love it so. There is a audio version on YouTube of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and I will link it below because I don't remember offhand who it is or what it is. It is so good though. It's excellent. They do all these sound effects, and it's, you know, it's narrated with voices, and what I love about it is they create a whole soundscape, and you know, the villagers actually have dialogue in the background that they added in that's not in the original story. So if you're a purist, maybe you won't want that, but I really thought it added to it. There's some cute little parts where Ichabod is scolding the children in the schoolhouse, and the little things that he will say or that you'll hear the villagers say and things like that, I think is pretty fun. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I listen to it. Well, I just found it last year. I was going to say I listen to it every year. I will be listening to it every year, even when I'm finished stitching on that. That's become a Halloween tradition for me, and at least one of my sons enjoyed listening to that with me. Way more entertaining for him than reading the original story. So if you're interested in listening to that while you're stitching or doing whatever, go give it a listen. I think you'll like it. On Instagram, there's a hashtag 13 Stitches of Halloween that many of you have been participating in and talking about. I think it started by Athena Stitches. I hope I'm right. Athena, I think, is associated with the Black Needle Society, if I'm correct. I hope I am. I didn't fact check this before starting. But I thought, oh, that's great. I'm going to do 13 Stitches to Halloween because I want to stitch all the Halloween things. Well, turns out 13 is a lot of whips for me for Halloween. So I'm working on it. I'm probably not going to make it to 13, but that's okay. I'm getting stitches into a number of things. So some of these have been on my Instagram. I think some of them have not. This one is one of the projects. It has a hanging thread. This is Nevermore from Lila's Studio. And there's where I am on that one. That's the bottom border there, the bottom left border. And this is done in the called for fabric, which is also a 40 count linen from Picture This Plus called Feldspar. And this is with the called for fancy flosses, which are Gentle Arts, I think, so far, and with a little bit of Weeks dye. And my dear friend Beth, who's Steadfast Stitcher here on Flosstube and Instagram, she's also working on this one. She's a lot further than I am, and she's working on the gate and some of the motifs, and I think the trees and things like that. And hers is fun to watch the progress. She's making great progress on that. Beth is the Flosstuber that I got to meet in person a few months ago, and we're hoping to meet again this coming up December, we hope. And I'm looking forward to that. But she's got so many great whips, and she just posted a new haul video because she went to a retreat in, is it North Carolina, I think? That's where she lives, or South Carolina. I think she went to the retreat in Myrtle Beach. Is that where it is? I don't know. Go watch it and find out, and she'll tell you. Don't take my word for it. You don't have to take my word for it. What is that line? Anyway, on to the next one. I worked on Nora Corbett's Bewitching Pixies line, which is a hashtag that Heidi from Stitching Faye and I have. I'm going to pause for the train for a moment. We are hosting hashtag Nora Witch Sal on Instagram, and thank you for those of you who have joined us. I love seeing what everyone's doing, flying through, making great progress. Everything's looking so great. I guess I really need to step mine up. If I'm one of the hosts behind it, I should keep up with it, but I did make some progress since my last video. Not nearly as much as most of you, but here is Anna. She's the one I'm working on now. I worked on the train in her dress, I guess it is, the tail there, and I worked some on her sash. She has this wonderful checkered sort of sash, and you know, elegant and lovely and beautiful, but she's also kind of whimsical with the checkered board going on. I think that's kind of a neat effect. And then the other one that I worked on in the last week, oh, well, I also put a few stitches, wait, I'll go do this one next. I've got this stack here I'm pulling from. This is my Haunted Mansion piece that I started the end of last month from Good Morning Maui on Etsy. This is all I have. Since I last showed it, I put in the little, which side are they on? I put in the little banshee eyes and mouths. I think they're so cute because their eyebrows are backstitched like this, so they look surprised. And I put in the bench down here. So, and I learned the song Grim Grinning Ghosts from Haunted Mansion on the organ. And I've been practicing that, and I thought maybe I would put it into a video and maybe it would be okay if it was my own cover. So we shall see. I haven't decided on that yet, but I've been practicing that, and it sounds really cool on the organ. And I don't actually have an organ. Yeah, actually I do. I have a huge pipe organ in my living room. It's awesome. Yeah, of course I don't have a pipe organ in my living room. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing ever? Yeah, that would be awesome. But I don't have that. All I have is a little Roland electric piano, and it has an electric sound of an organ on it. So that's fun to play around with, and playing that famous Bach toccata or fugue. Is it toccata and fugue in D minor? The one that's in all the old movies and all things like that. So my kids and I are having fun with the organ sounds at Halloween this month. So I also worked on this one, and this one is called Halloween Night from Imaginating. The artist is Sandra Casalino. Since I last showed it, I worked some more on the clouds, which doesn't really look it. And I also finished the jack-o'-lantern at the bottom, and I worked on the border, and I had a lot more of the border done, but I had to take the green out, most of the green out. I still have more green to take out, so it kind of got put on timeout. What happened was it doesn't really matter what happened, I messed up. So I was going to my mom's last week, and we were in a time crunch. We had to be there in an hour, and we have an hour to drive there. So we were running out the door, and I was grabbing all my stitchy stuff to take, so I had variety and I had things with me, as you do. And made sure I had several whips with me, made sure I had the floss and the scissors and the needles and all the things and the patterns that go with it. Got to her house. I didn't have my Q-snap. I didn't have a hoop. I didn't have anything. So I stitched in hand, which I am not good at. I would love to learn just for those kind of occasions, but my tension is not even, and I'm still figuring that out. So that's actually not the point of the whole thing. The point is that I grabbed the wrong color. So the border is in 3808, which is a beautiful dark teal, turquoise, and then the green is in 3348, and I grabbed 772 for whatever reason. That's in my Anna, so maybe that's what I was thinking. And that went in instead. So I would leave it if that were the only green that I put in there, but I had already stitched some of the first green, and they're just too close but too off to make me happy. I'm not happy with it. So I have to pull out the 772 and go back in and restitch it with the right charted color. So that's, otherwise, that one's close to being finished. I think that's it for my Halloween stitching. I have a couple things that I have kitted up to start. Like I've said, I would love to start, and I keep putting them off from starting because I've been on a kick of wanting to work on the whips that I have. I did start a new Halloween piece this year, so maybe that will be it for now. I don't know, but we'll see. I have a couple that I love, and one in particular that I just saw last week on Etsy. It was posted in a Facebook group as kind of an advertisement for this designer, and then I went on Etsy and found it. I'm going to post a picture of it here because I haven't printed it yet, but I bought it, and I saw this, and it was love at first sight, and I was like, I have to have this. I love this. I love this. I love everything about this. It's so different, and the color scheme and all. As you can see, I love purple with my Halloween things, so And there's something about this, it's so whimsical, it makes me think of Nightmare Before Christmas, which is my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies. So I would like to stitch this, but without the Halloween at the bottom. I would just stitch the top 3 panels probably, and maybe the little village at the haunted houses at the bottom. So we'll see. We'll see. I may start that. To be determined. I'm going to go ahead and show my one piece of haul that I have because it's Halloween related instead of waiting. This is a new tote bag, a project bag rather, that I got. I'm thinking tote because the name of the company is, the name of the lady's business is Creative Totes by Ashley. Mine has dog hair on it, it didn't come that way of course. And I thought this is great for Halloween. I love that fabric, the ravens and skulls and bats and spiders and poison bottles and all those things. And then it has the vinyl on the other side, which I have my Halloween night project in there. And it has this coordinating fabric stripes. So I found her on Stash Unloading on Facebook. And I love, this is my first bag of this, well I have another great bag like this from my friend Amanda at Lucky Chance Stitcher. She gifted me one of her bags and they are beautiful and I love them. And I've been trying, I had been asking her if I could buy some from her. If you've changed your mind, Amanda, please do tell me because I seriously will buy yours instead. But at the time, I think she just wasn't, you know, in a good place to make enough to sell or whatever. So I love the one that she sent me with the kitty cats on. In the meantime, I am loving these because, so mostly I collect these bags from Garan Toten Bags and I love them. Isn't this fabric fun? It's got the coordinating fabric inside. This is my one Halloween bag from them and I love it. I do love them and I will continue to collect their bags. This is their medium-sized bag, and I tend to store these in a basket, kind of lined up like this. And what happens is, and it's really not that big a deal, but what happens is when I store it like that, rather than flat, my fabric kind of slumps to the bottom of the bag, and it sort of just ends up in a pile at the bottom of the bag. Really doesn't matter because if it's folded, it's going to crease anyway, so it's not like it's in any special way. But this bag, because of the design, it stays compact. It doesn't flop down. I guess what it is more than the actual flopping. It becomes bulky at the bottom. And so it doesn't stay, do you know what I mean? Like it gets like, they expand out like this. So I am definitely going to be collecting more bags like this from Ashley because I can line them up and they're much more space saving, I guess. Now they are smaller than these. These would be the Garan medium size. They're a 12 by 13 and hers are 10 by 13. So you could see the size difference there. But that's okay. They both make larger bags. Garan makes a much larger bag. And then she makes a 14 by 14, which would be closer to that size, the Grand size that she does offer. And I will definitely be getting more. She has lots of fun patterns, fabrics to choose from, and she also does make the smaller bags for the notions and things like that coordinate. So she is on Stash Unloading. She posts often. If you search, you can go on the web. If you're on that Facebook group, you can go on and you can search Creative Totes by Ashley. If you are not, and then you just comment which ones you want and she'll send you a PayPal invoice. If you are not in that group, because last I heard they had closed to new members because they were so full. I think last I looked they were at over 22,000 people. She also does have a Facebook page of her own separately called Creative Totes by Ashley. I'm not sure how updated she keeps that, but you can always reach out to her and she can let you know what she has available. They're made already, and so they're ready to send out, and she'll let you know how many she has available, and the shipping was quick. I'm very happy. Also, she's offering free shipping right now on all of her bags, so it's a great time to buy some and try them. I just bought this because I want another Halloween bag. I don't work for Ashley. I'm not getting any kind of kickback or anything or whatever you call it. Although I'm not above that. Okay, Ashley, if you watch this, I'm not above something. No, I'm kidding. No. I love the bags, and I wrote her and told her how much I love them. The craftsmanship is beautiful, and I think you will love them too. So that's why I'm sharing. And then in my haul section, I will also show you this. This is not new, but I got this last month, and I mentioned it, that I had stuck it in my cart, and I didn't have it to share. I didn't know where it was. So now I'm showing you. This is a Sue Hillis design Christmas called It's Christmas, of all things, and it's just a list of different things that we do at Christmas time, like baking cookies and counting snowflakes and what else? Eat candy canes, spread good cheer, drink hot cocoa, all those cheerful, lovely Christmas time things. Did you all see the new Christmas pattern from Stitch Man Darcy? I love it. I love blue. And I'm definitely gonna get this one, and I'm gonna stitch this one as one of my Darcy collection. And I'll probably just do it without the words. I'm glad to have both. There's 2 options, and I got to stitch it because I just love that owl and I love the blue. I actually decorate mostly in my Christmas house. Decorations are mostly in blues and silvers. So there you go. I'll blend right in with that decor. Moving to non-Halloween things, well, as I just did with the Christmas, when I was going through my boxes for this video to find these finishes that I had from last year that are just literally thrown in boxes with different stitchy things, I came across something that I have been looking for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, that I could not find anywhere. And when I went into this box, it was the second thing down, of course, and it was right there, probably all along. And so I wanted to show it again because it has not been in my whip parades. And it is this. It is my Disney Castle from Mandarin's Designs. This is the Disney Castle from Disneyland Paris, which is... Who is this? Is this Cinderella Castle? Or Sleeping? It might be No, it's Sleeping Beauty. So each Disney park has a different castle as their main castle. They're slightly different. They have different features, different color, kind of. And ours here in Florida at Magic Kingdom is the Cinderella Castle. So this is Sleeping Beauty. For whatever it's worth, which it's not really. But my friend Jaime at Teeny Weenie Stitches, which she's back, yay, Jaime, so excited she's back. She hadn't posted Flosstube for a while, and I've been bugging her to get back on because we all love her. I feel like to know Jaime is to love Jaime, and so anyway, I'm really glad to see her back. And she's stitching this up, and she is making marvelous progress. She's already on the sky and the balloons, and so that's been, every time she shows it, I'm like, oh, I don't know where mine is. And so there it is. No more excuses. I do know where the pattern is, or I think I know. Well, we shall see. So that will be coming out. And then probably next month or whenever. And then this, I keep meaning to show you all this. I've shown it before. This is a Dimensions kit called Japanese Garden. Love it. My friend Ashley's also working on this one. And I had stitched most of, well, not most, a lot of this side because I started on this side and I stitched most of that, and then I promptly lost that half of the pattern. It comes in 2 pages, two halves. And so I lost it and it's been missing, and it's never turned up. So my viewer, Kristen, was so kind. She sent me the pattern so that I can go ahead and finish that up. So that was so generous, and I'm so touched, and I thank you so much, Kristen, for doing that. And I'm so sorry that I haven't mentioned it before, because she actually sent it to me a couple of months ago, and I kept meaning to mention it. And I told her I was going to, and I keep thinking about it, and I've had it sitting out to remind me, and I don't know what happened. So I'm sorry, but I do very much appreciate it, and this will be coming back out again and getting that half done at some time. Everything's to be determined, right? I want to do a couple of shout outs. I've been binging on Flosstube this week because I've been relatively kidless a lot of the days. And so I've been watching a lot of Flosstube, just kind of vegging, sitting around, just being lazy and stitching and watching Flosstube. Watching all my regular favorite people. You know who you are. I love you. And I've started watching a few new channels in addition to those that I want to mention that are new to me. First one is Jordyn Stitcher. Many of you know her. I didn't watch her before because simply because I don't tend to stitch the style that she does. She does mostly primitive sampler, things like that, and I don't tend to stitch that. And it's very popular, and a lot of Flosstubers do, and they have, you know, lots and lots of viewers for that reason. But I just started watching her the other day on a whim, and just absolutely enjoyed her videos so much. I've gone back and watched more. She is a very prolific stitcher, and she stitches a lot, so she always has so much to show. Every video is almost like a mini whip parade, and I really enjoy seeing it. She stitches a lot of houses, so I actually went and put a lot of things on my wish list after watching her, because I like to stitch houses, whether they're primitive or not. So that's one that I've added to my must-see YouTube. And then a couple of weeks ago, I joined a Zoom group chat with my friend Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, who I mentioned earlier. She has a Facebook group called Crafts and Books that is great. I recommend, if you're on Facebook, that you join. She posts there frequently, all sorts of different things to do with stitching and with reading. And she does a weekly Zoom chat, live stitch crafting together, and then she also does a monthly book club. And I'm often not able to join because of timing or whatever life, but I was able to join a couple of weeks ago, one Monday evening, and I got to meet a number of people that it was great to be in that group and to mostly just listen to people chatting. So I want to say hi to Nikki and Mary and Nancy and Peggy. And I also met Sara, who is in Arkansas. I hope I have that right. I know she's in the South. And Sara has a Flosstube channel called Sara's Stitches. And I went and checked it out, and I love Sara's channel. And I think you will too. She's got that Flosstube ASMR going on that so many of us appreciate. And she has a lot of stitching, and she has beautiful finishes, and she has some things that are finished in unique ways that you don't often see. She has a very creative way of putting things together and displaying them. She stitches a lot of smalls, so she has a lot of various finishes to show. And so I highly recommend her. She's very close to 1,000 subscribers. I think she's only maybe like 30 shy of 1,000. So if you want to go over and give her a like and a subscribe, I know that she would appreciate that. And I know you will appreciate her as well when you watch her. And then third is the Tattooed Stitcher. That's Jordyn, and I found out about her through my friend Amber at Rogue Mama Stitcher. Amber needs her own shout out every video because she's become a dear friend, and I'm sorry, Amber, I've been texting her, like just ranting about random things, and you're so patient with me. Thank you for that. Just being an ear, kind of. Amber and I have become good friends through Flosstube and Instagram and Stitchy World, and hopefully we'll get to meet next year. I hope. We'll see. So anyway, Amber told me about, and told all of us on her video about Jordyn at Tattooed Stitcher, and I started watching her, and I love her. She stitches a lot of the same things that Amber and I do, so if you like these kind of things, you will like Jordyn as well. And she's great. She has a lot of finishes too. So that's something to watch for because they're not here on my channel. So those are my shout outs for this time. I have an official question for you all. Speaking of shout outs and Flosstube, so back in, I think, April, I made a video for fun called 22 Flosstubers to Watch in 2022. I have gotten so much positive, good feedback from that. I have had dozens, literally, of people ask me to do another one with more Flosstubers. I have been working on a video that's not finished. I compiled it and it's almost finished. I have mixed feelings because I don't want to appear like I'm playing favorites, and I don't want anyone to feel left out. I'm not intentionally leaving people out. It's just that I'm putting who I always watch and I never miss and who I absolutely love. And it's just my 32 flavors of ice cream, if you will. So please let me know if you have any opinions or thoughts on that. I definitely don't intend to do some sort of top 10 video. It's just something that's kind of fun, and I could continue doing it and try to cover hundreds of Flosstubers if that's something that you're interested in. The Flosstuber Becca over at Jordyn Stitches, you know, she's been doing interview with the Flosstuber for a couple of years and is super popular. And she picks out people to interview. I'm not sure what her process is for choosing who to interview, but I don't go to that and look at that as if she's playing favorites. I just figure she's kind of randomly choosing some of the most popular Flosstubers. I have no idea. But anyway, I would just like some input on that because we're nearing the end of 2022. And so I figured if I'm going to do 22 more to watch in 2022, I'd better hurry up and get that out soon or it's going to be 2023. So I would like to hear that. I've heard from a couple of people that, including Mary, hi Mary, in Mississippi, that she found Flosstube and that was one of the first videos she found on Flosstube, and it helped her get kind of acclimated and into that world and kind of see what it was all about. And oh boy, she probably one of the first people was Darcy. What a fun way to jump in there to that. It's great. He's great. So that's my little ramble about that. Life is doing well, hanging in there. Things are going okay, all these new things. You know, I had a bunch of new things that I jumped into all at once, which it's been a little overwhelming, but the dust is settling and I appreciate all of your support and encouragement. You all have been wonderful with that. Let's see, my job is going well. I'm working every other weekend now. I'm on my own now. I'm no longer training with the other nurse. And that actually, this past weekend was my first weekend on my own. When I say on my own, I mean in my position. I'm not literally alone in the building. I have a team, of course. And it's been good. It was actually much more low-key and relaxed and good on my own. Things happen. It's busy, and I'm pretty much going the whole day and walking. It's a huge facility. It's 180 rooms, and they're large rooms, so they're very spread out. I don't know how many square feet this building is, but it's quite large. It's really pretty. It's about 100 years old. This building was built in the 1920s, the early 1920s, in the Gilded Age, and it was a luxury retirement home for the Masons, I think, in the day. It had all these luxury amenities when it was opened. Kind of reminds me of those old hotels, you know, like the fancy jazz age, like from The Shining or something. Seeing these old pictures is pretty cool, but they have a lot of original architecture still there, and it's a beautiful building, but it's huge. So it's a lot of walking around, but you know what? I need the exercise. It's been okay. I really like the team I'm working with, and things were a lot more good, a lot more chill the last time I was there. Don't get me wrong, I am not above panicking. I can panic with the best of them. But I try to reserve that more for emergency life or death situations, and then I try not to panic until it's sort of over and things are taken care of, and then I can allow myself to panic. So when I was training, it was pretty much panic mode from clocking in to clocking out. It was just kind of a lot. So that's good. I'm happy to be there. Cross Stitch Club with my homeschool co-op. We've had one class so far. It was a bit chaotic. So this is my first year teaching a class, which I only did so I wouldn't have to put on a party again like I was told last year. But okay, what can I say about this? So we have a bunch of kids in this co-op, and we have a bunch of classes in different age groups. We have 3 periods. And when they sent out, the night before they sent out the assigned location, it's at a park. It's at a state park with picnic tables, pavilions. And then they sent out assistants for every class, because the class, they typically provide the teacher with 1 or 2 people, adults, to help. And I was the only person on this list out of maybe 20 people with no assistant and no assignment, no assigned location. And you try to think, well, I'm sure it's just an oversight. I'm sure there's a mistake, even though I'm glaringly empty there in that column. But when I reached out to them, they said, well, they didn't think that, they didn't ask, but they just assumed that a needlework class would not need an assistant. So I said, well, yeah, it probably is going to. And so anyway, when I got there, thank goodness there was another mother who had stepped in to help. She hadn't been asked, but she saw that there was that class and she said, could she help? I am so thankful for her. She actually taught embroidery last year that my daughter was in that one. I don't know what I would have done without her. We only had 8 or 9 kids, 9, I guess. What they did was they threw another one on me at the last, like after the class had started, they sent a kid over. Thank goodness I had brought extra materials because that never even occurred to me. I kitted up the kit for each kid. I let them pick. In hindsight, I wasn't thinking about how little time we had to work on things. So I think I overestimated what we can get done in this class. I let the kids pick their patterns. Most of them are 2 by 3, most of them, with a number of colors. And we only have 8 class sessions, and each class session is only 40 minutes. So we didn't get that much done the first class, of course, because we were learning how to thread our needles and how to even, read the pattern and do the thing. But they did well. They all got a start. And I was a little bit in panic mode that weekend thinking, we're not going to be done with our pieces by the end of these classes, especially if they're only working on them in class. The problem was that we have a spring showcase in March that we're supposed to show what we did in class and what we learned. And so I was picturing that I would need to be displaying these finished cross stitches on there. Well, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that. I think what I'm going to do is they want us all to actually give a presentation like up in front of the audience. I was just going to make a table display for the after reception, but they want something to present to the audience. So what I will probably do is take pictures, and I will probably just make like a PowerPoint slide kind of thing with music. And at the end, I'll put pictures, and at the end, I could just put something about how, we all learned how to do this, and we hope we keep going with it, and, but that we didn't quite finish our pieces. So I think that'll be okay. You know what? Whatever. So there's that. We don't meet again until December. Our classes are very few and far between. I don't really quite understand how they do it, but they don't. We don't have any more for this month, and probably none in November. Orchestra's going well. That's kind of a whole thing with that, but I won't get into that. But it's going well. We have our concert coming up next week on Tuesday. We're doing a spooky magical concert for Halloween, but we can't call it Halloween because we're playing in a church, so that's understandable. So we never came up with a name for it, but that's okay. We're playing music from Harry Potter and the Alfred Hitchcock theme, the Funeral March of the Marionette. We're playing Stravinsky, and we're playing a couple other pieces, including Sorcerer's Apprentice, which became best known for the scene in Fantasia from Disney of Mickey Mouse dancing with the sorcerer's hat. I think it is, right? So there's that. That will be fun. And then the following week we will start our Christmas music for our Christmas concert. Lots of Christmas things coming up. They actually just invited me to join some of their chamber ensembles, which I didn't even realize they had. We're going to try to put together a string quartet. I play viola, so I'm really excited because, everybody always wants a violist. So just because there are not as many of them as there are violins and cellos. So I'm really excited about the possibilities of that. Maybe we'll play some Christmas quartets and trios and such. So that's all good. And then a week from tomorrow is my birthday, October 27th. And I'm not sure yet what, if anything, I'm going to do. I would love to be able to go to Ocala to Brick City Cross Stitch and tell the family that we're going to the Silver Springs State Park, which we would do, but use that as a reason to go. but we'll see. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I don't know that we have any plans to do such a thing. Probably it'll just be a day that I will use to stitch here at home. So my friend Mel Patton, she doesn't have a Flosstube channel. I wish you did, Melanie, because she stitches beautiful things. She is on Instagram. You got to go watch her on Instagram. She stitches absolutely beautiful things, most of the same things that I do. We're very much stitchy twins. I love seeing her Instagram feed because she stitches, we pick out the same things. We have very similar tastes. So I love seeing what she's stitching on and what she puts together. Right now she's finishing up Sleepy Hollow. She's just doing the beading on it. It looks amazing. She reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and she told me that she was sending me something off my 1-2-3 stitch wish list. I was so touched and blown away that she would take the time and to think of me and to do that. And thank you, Melanie. So I had no idea what it was. I have my wish list on there is 5 miles long. It's probably half of their inventory. It takes forever to scroll through it. And so I had no idea really what it could be, possibly. And I got the package the other day. Actually, I got it on Saturday. And I'm so excited. I did open it because it was, I didn't want to do all the tearing stuff. I wanted to open it on camera and be surprised. I'm going to be honest, I did try to film this video twice yesterday. So I did, and then when I put it on my computer, I was not happy with it. So I did see what it was, but I'm gonna pull it out again and I'm gonna show it to you. We could pretend that I don't know what it is, but I'm so happy with it. I'm so excited. So I can't wait to show you. They put in this Post-it note that they wrote, to Mary, happy birthday, love, Melanie Patton, and they drew those cute little star fireworks things on it. Isn't that neat? That's so neat that 1-2-3 Stitch did that for Melanie and for me. I think that's cool. They took the time to do that. And look what Melanie picked out. Let's see if I can get it there. This is Joan Elliott, Magical Unicorn. It's a little bit different style than her normal. I love it. And I love Joan Elliott's normal style. Don't get me wrong, I stitched a lot of her. She's one of my favorite designers. So thank you, Mel. I love it. I can't wait to get started. My daughter's going to be so excited too when she sees it. She's not home today and she hasn't seen it. But she's probably going to insist that I put it in her room when it's framed. It's funny, I have to tell you a quick story about unicorns. I was on Facebook the other day scrolling along, as you do, and an ad popped up with a photo for the local Renaissance fair, and it was a picture of a woman dressed in medieval clothing. She was with a little unicorn, like a little mini unicorn. It was a photograph. And my daughter was looking over my shoulder and she's like, is that a unicorn? Is that a real unicorn? And I was like, well, what do you think? And she's like, it couldn't be, but no, but how did they find a real unicorn? She's 10 and a half. She knows, but it's that she wanted so much to believe that that was a real unicorn. So I just did the whole kind of, well, what do you think? Do you think it's real? She never did really say it wasn't. So, but we are going to go. Definitely, we love the Renaissance Fair. So that's not for another month or so here when the weather will be nice, for sure. And so we will definitely be going for that and find us some unicorns, real or otherwise. And I will be stitching that as soon as I can find fabric that goes with it. So thank you so much, Mel. And thank you to all of you for all of your encouraging words and support and sharing your stitching and your pictures and all of that on Instagram. It's such inspiration and it's so wonderful. And I love all of you. And with that said, now I gotta go hop on the interstate and go pick up my kiddo from my mom, and I will talk to you all. Hopefully I will come to you one more time before Halloween, either this coming weekend or, well, not this coming weekend, the weekend before Halloween or on Halloween. And I'll see you all then. Happy stitching. Bye, guys.